Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's take a look at some stocks on the move today. Joining us is Bloomberg News cross-asset reporter Emily Graffeo. All right, let's start with B of A.
Okay.
Reported earnings. And they did. Investors liked what they got.
Yeah, big surprise. They got a record quarter because of their stock traders, because there's been a ton of market volatility. I honestly feel like I've been saying that over and over again.
Because you have been?
Yes, because of the big bank earnings season.
Well, this is the last day you can say that.
Right. But it's been a very common theme. Their net interest income also beat estimates. Bank of America is unique because they have a big kind of like read on the consumer because of their credit card business. The CFO said consumers have proven resilient. So there's a read into the macro.
I was waiting for this one.
He counts down to it. He's like, I can't wait till what B of A has to say.
Yeah, because they've got such a good view on the consumer. And
right.
We get here and it's like, wait a second, didn't we just hear concerns last week from Goldman about a recession, then pulling the recessionary call after the pause in tariffs, and the concern about consumers, the Friday consumer sentiment data that we got, where it was like, okay, consumers are having high inflation expectations. From the banks, we got none of that concern.
I know. Brian Moynihan, our business clients have been performing well, and consumers have shown resilience, continuing to spend and maintaining healthy credit quality. Now, this, I mean, it doesn't take into account like last week.
Yeah.
All of the volatility,
that's a good point.
Would that have hurt people?
Backward,
maybe.
Yeah.
It is backward looking in a way.
But still.
Yeah.
Like you would. It's not like he was overly cautious in terms of where we are right now.
Kat Doherty did make the point on our program earlier. She covers the bank, and she said a good portion, you could characterize, basically the way I characterized her comments were, it sounded like he was talking about the years that they spent getting the bank into a very good place should there be some sort of crisis, and how they were more prepared now than they were, let's say 2008.
And perhaps in choosing their clients that they work with, right? So maybe more.
I would, whatever Kat Doherty says on Bank of America, I would listen.
All right, go to HPE.
Hewlett Packard Enterprise
was a big gainer today.
Yeah, this was a big gainer, and some Bloomberg reporting about deal news. Elliott Investment Management is said to have built a large position worth more than $1.5 billion in the software company.
It's about a $19.7 billion market cap company, so that's pretty substantial.
That's pretty substantial, yeah. The investment makes Elliott one of the company's top 5 shareholders. The stock was up as much as 8.8%. It paired a little bit, but it still finished the day up 5%. It's down almost 30% year to date. But it seems like Wall Street likes Elliott taking this stake. You look at what Evercore ISI had to say. They said the stake is a positive for the stock, given Elliott's track record of activist management. There's still some other pending news when it comes to the DOJ and their lawsuit against HPE. But Evercore said, we believe that Elliott will be able to help drive additional shareholder focus regardless of the pending acquisition's outcome. That's a lot of words, but yes, the stock was higher today on this news.
Yeah, really, like mega outperformer. So we'll see. And we know Elliott, right, when they're playing in the tech space, they tend to do pretty well.
Yeah.
I think in terms of some of the changes that they push for. All right, get a name to the downside for us.
Okay, Albertsons, because I couldn't just come with all green, stocks green. I had to do a decliner. It was down 7.6%, biggest drop since October 2022. This is one of the largest grocery chains in the U.S. And it was interesting because their annual outlook excluded the impact of tariffs, which in a way, I guess, speaks to how businesses and CEOs are having difficulty keeping track of just the changes that are going on in tariff policy and the uncertainty. But executives for the retailer didn't explain why they made that decision. And they did say that they domestically source more than 90% of the products that they sell, which you would think would be a good sign. But overall, it seems like that tariff uncertainty and then also a fiscal year adjusted EPS that missed estimates was what was weighing.
Did I say
on
that?
the
Is
stock.
it the incoming CEO called it an investment
year? Yes. CEO Susan Morris calling it an investment year.
Yeah.
This
there's concerns like if you're investing. So maybe, margins in the grocery business are so slim.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe if you're investing, spending money, maybe your margins might be even more challenged.
Speaking of deals, Albertsons and Kroger have been in a big back and forth, and
That's still happening?
I don't want to misspeak on it. I haven't been following it that closely, but it's a super interesting story, at least just between like two businesses that they wanted to merge and they're no longer merging.
Listen.
And there's lawsuits.
You know that?
Really interesting story. I recommend people
All that matters is
read about it on the Bloomberg.
whatever ice cream is on sale is the ice cream I'm getting. That's all that matters.
Really?
Oh,
I feel like people are pretty brand loyal with ice cream. I know what I want.
No. Like
Haagen-Dazs.
I'm pretty loyal.
Cookie dough.
Yeah.
It's
Really?
better than the
You're
other
doing
cookie
Haagen-Dazs
dough, brands. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.